Sometimes you go to a wedding and you almost know the couple's not going to last, but it's going to be a good party. You ever gone to a wedding and you thought to yourself, I don't think this is a death till they part? You kind of know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to one of those. But I got to be honest with you. It may have been the most fun wedding I was ever at. I've been to okay, I'll give you an example, Christine. I think I've told you this story. The best fight night I've ever been at. And I was at, Hagler, Leonard. The best fight night I was ever at was the Fan Man. And have I told you that story about the Fan Man?
No.
It's the craziest thing ever. You can look it up right now. You do that. You always look stuff up when I start talking about it. So I went to a fight years ago, and the guy sitting next to me was Jerry O'Lennon. He was a sportscaster. We were sportscasters at the NBC. And we go to the fight, and I think it's like Riddick Bowe. All of a sudden, I'm not even sure. It was right before the fight or the fight's going on. The fight's going on, and all of a sudden, there's a big bang crash, and a man sitting in a device crashes into the ring. He was dubbed the Fan Man. Look it up right now on YouTube.
I see it.
We were at that fight. It came right toward us. First of all, there was fear. Louis Farrakhan was there. And when it happened, some people thought it was an assassination attempt on his life. It was not. So his bodyguards all got up and drew guns. And it was frightening. It was hysterical. It was bizarre. And that's the best fight night I've ever been to. And I don't remember a damn thing about the fight. In fact, I think Riddick Bowe was fighting in it, but I'm not sure. So fight nights are very interesting. The second best fight night I've ever been, I went to Tyson fights. I went to Roy Jones fights. I went to Sugar Ray Leonard fights. The second best fight night I ever went to in my life was Iran Barkley and Nigel Benn at Bally's on a Saturday afternoon. Dan Deerdorf was on the call. And it was smoky, and it's not a really good venue for boxing. And they knocked each other down 7 times in about 10 minutes. And the place was going bananas. I mean, people were screaming and howling and laughing. I was sitting next to a guy named Scott Reynolds, who is now an anchor man somewhere in Louisville. So the 2 best fights that I remember the most were crazy. One was an undercard, and one was a Fan Man. So I think the event's going to be spectacular. But I think this whole thing, Floyd Mayweather came out yesterday, Damage Control. Floyd Mayweather comes out yesterday because they're not selling some seats, and he says this about being an old man.
I'm older.
What does that mean?
I'm not the same fighter I was 2 years ago. I'm not the same fighter I was 5 years ago. I lost a step. A fighter like Andre Berto don't even supposed to go the distance with Floyd Mayweather. But remember, I was 38. So like I said before, it's obvious I'm slipping a little bit to even let a fighter like that go the distance with me.
Listen, even if he was old people can still summons great for brief times. Kobe Bryant scored 60 because emotionally he drove to that arena knowing it was the last time he'd play a pro basketball game. Okay, when I'm 80, I'll be able to do a killer rant on this show. Now, I'll need a nap right afterwards, but I can be good for 7 minutes till I die.
I also told you yesterday that from my sources who are close to Mayweather's camp, said that he doesn't look good in sparring right now, which also could be them trying to spread that message that Floyd does not look good right now.
Kobe Bryant scored 60 in his last game, Christine. Michael Jordan scored 40 3 times his last year. Is that Peyton Manning could summons a great half. When you're great, when I talk to pro athletes, Drew Bledsoe's a friend of mine, former NFL quarterback. He's like, I can still sling it. I mean, you talk to all these former NFL quarterbacks. Troy Aikman, he can still throw it. But it's the practice and the OTAs and the travel and the journey and the grind and the accumulation of hits. So even if Floyd Mayweather was in 5 years from now, if I told you, Floyd, I want you to be great for 3.5 minutes, Floyd would be great for 3.5 minutes. My sources tell me that McGregor, after 4 rounds of sparring, looks gassed. Christine's tell her that Floyd doesn't look particularly good. I don't know if either one of us is being told precisely what's happening, but I think now what you're seeing is this is sales. This is, we got to sell tickets because we're paying these guys a lot of money. And boxing has always been pretty insular, and they kind of protect their own, and they're fighting off the UFC. And if Mayweather can't sell tickets, it's bad for the industry. So they've asked Floyd Mayweather, Floyd, do you want to make $75 million or $150 million? If you want to make $150 million, you need to go out and say you're old, and you're going to go right in the middle and make it a bar fight. And that's exactly what he did yesterday.